From the Earthship studio in Brisbane, Australia.
We talked about Ukraine. We mentioned if we were given advance warning that a missile was headed here at the moment, I would run into this structure.
Well, that's right. The other thing is that I haven't actually done, if I built this in the rural thing, I would actually embed it into the earth to tap into the earth's temperature to cook, the natural air conditioning. So you're right. I've often
so you
thought,
need to last alive.
Well, there is that, but there's probably more of a threat out where I'm talking from actual bushfire.
Oh, okay.
So,
right,
I've actually worked out with my son that the weak point obviously is this door.
Yeah.
So if you could reinforce that with like a fire retardant thing.
Yeah.
And then you've got smoke inhalation obviously, but you can fix that as well with breathing apparatus of some sort.
Yeah.
All you got to do is survive while the firestorm goes through.
Yeah.
And you possibly could.
Yeah. If nothing else, you could probably bake some pots in it with
No, you'd actually,
because you're under the ground.
You're under the ground.
I like the idea, because I think when the fire goes through, it literally goes like 100 miles an hour.
Like a freight train,
over the top.
Yeah.
And then you're underneath that.
Yeah.
And particularly, if it's, you don't want it standing up.
No.
But you want it under.
Well, that's right. I mean, this roof, this dome roof is made of 5 inches of concrete.
Yeah.
It's
that would work pretty
fire
well.
retardant.
Yeah. They learned that the people with the colour-on fences were the ones who were more likely to survive.
Okay.
Yeah, the people who had the old-fashioned wood fence.
Yeah. Well, you heard about that woman in, I don't know if it was Mallacoota, but it was one of those towns who actually just went into her backyard pool and sat in the bottom of the pool with an Aqualung.
Oh, okay. No.
And that's how she survived. But I'm using her story as to actually work out with my scientist son if that's actually feasible. Same sort of thing as in an Earthship.
Well, so you could actually flood your Earthship.
No. I'm talking about protecting the weak point.
Oh, okay.
So you've still got an Aqualung.
Because I'm thinking if the fire's lingering, particularly as you seem happy to have vegetation around it, and so the fire's literally cooking you, cook like in an oven, you're in a clay oven. I'm saying that you've got an ability to flood the Earthship and have an Aqualung on with the access to air.
Yeah, that's right. You can have like a bamboo thing. You don't even need it.
You wouldn't want that because it's going into the fire. So you'd want oxygen cylinders.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're sitting there like there used to be a guy called Lloyd Bridges, and this guy was called Aqualung or something. No, I think that was a song, a record, but I forget what this guy was called. But he was able to spend a long time under the water with an Aqualung on.
Yeah. It was on a TV show.
Yeah.
With it.
There was a guy, Lloyd Bridges. He was, I wonder what it was called, Water Hunt. It might have been called Water Hunt. So you're sitting, you flood the Earth.
No, I'm just saying that I think an Earthship would do better than your traditional wooden built structure.
Oh yeah.
Because you're in the earth. You've got this concrete dome. If you can protect the door, the weak spot with I don't know what fire retardant, asbestos, all sorts of stuff.
You get fireproof doors. Yeah.
And get a good seal on it. You could probably survive it.
Well, it would then become a bomb shelter.
That's right. Because like you mentioned at the top of the shot, that with who would have guessed that the Doomsday Clock has moved close? Is it close to midnight, where we're on the precipice of nuclear war? Well, what does that mean?
Well, the great Iron Maiden said so eloquently in their song 2 minutes to midnight.
Okay.
Yeah. That we literally, that's how close we are. And they say in that the little rags are children torn in two by the nuclear war. So we don't want that to happen. But if it did happen, it could be the case that the mission or the role, the people who built these shelters had to play is rebuilding a new world afterwards. After, that would literally be the Great Reset.
Yeah.
Because, this is what, if you look at the history of the human race, there have been many things over the history of the human race where it's gone into a bottleneck.
Yeah.
And they say, well, this is really strange. People who study the DNA, they say this is really strange because it seems like there's not as many, we're not as diverse in DNA as you would expect. And that's because sometimes the human race has almost died out and it's gone into a bottleneck and there's just been a small number and then it's grown back.
Yeah, 75,000 years ago, the world's population shrunk down to like under 10,000.
Oh yeah.
It was somewhere in Africa, in that valley, whatever it was called, and it does your head in, that the fact that everyone is descended from that group of people.
Well, that's right. This is the thing people don't understand, and it's too big for them to contemplate. With what we see happening at the moment on the world stage with Russia and Ukraine, people cannot grasp how close we are to the Cuban Missile Crisis stage.
Yes.
People who lived in that.
Yeah, you were actually in 1961, wherever it was happened.
When I was 11.
That was probably the talk of the day.
I was in a religious school, and I think because I was in this religious school, we had nuns teaching us, and they told us to be confident that there wouldn't be a war because a Catholic man was running the USA.
Oh, okay.
And which was true. And that Catholic man, John Kennedy, stared down the Russian bear, and literally.
Oh, so that you could create a parallel today with smoking Joe Biden. Yeah, he's staring down the Russian bears. Would that be true?
Unfortunately, when in times like this, as they say, what cometh the hour, cometh the man. And a statesman appears from somewhere, or stateswoman now.
Yeah.
Because now, back then it was all men in suits. So there could be someone it could be Greta Thunberg. Who do we know? Who do we know?
So like a Churchill-esque
someone
type comes from nowhere.
Someone has to step forward, and they have to give both sides enough to save face.
Oh, okay.
Because it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be a war.
Okay.
It could so easily be solved around a table. It's just each side wants something, but there's a mismatch. First of all, there's a lack of trust between because they go and they say things that are for the benefit of their domestic audience, so they have to talk tough, be aggressive, for their own benefit of their population. But then they also need to go into a room with an adjudicator. I don't know who that would be, maybe the UN or someone, and say, well, come on, guys, what do you want? Again, this is where you need someone who is not one of the current leaders, because obviously these people are the ones who've got us into the war. Ozzy Osbourne says this in his song, War Pigs. The generals only started the war. They don't care about the war. In fact, their war is their business. Their business is good.